Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Is Pre Hondo the deck to beat in the current Unlikely Heroes meta? I think it just might be. However, the results from the recent tournaments would argue otherwise. So today I'm breaking down this beast, pros, cons, and why I think it's so good. Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Happy Destiny Friday. Welcome back to Dice Commando. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everything's been going well. I hope everyone got home safe from the big party in St. Louis this last weekend. Nicely done, folks. It was great following that all weekend. Been seeing the videos online. Just an awesome, just the fact that it happened was awesome, right? I mean, even for those of us who weren't there. So great, awesome stuff. So also, before we get into the deck tonight, talking about it, I just want to remind everybody, in case you've been living under a rock, that the new two-player set drops Sunday, the 29th. I haven't been contacted for reveals or anything like that, so I assume there's a big plan coming probably tonight or maybe tomorrow to look at all the cards. But yeah, the tournament on Sunday afternoon, the ARH-sponsored one, is free to everyone attend. You don't have to have a deck ready to go. You just pop in. You get the hero villain, some sort of format like that. Promises to be an awesome time. Check it out at the very least. We've got a set to review to do next week and all sorts of new stuff to play with. And man, Papa Palp looks pretty freaking scary. All right, so tonight talking Pre Hondo and why I think it's so good. And again, you know, the recent tournament results from the mid-cycles and the Galactic Opens. I knew that wasn't right. From the Galactic Opens and then last weekend, it didn't top, it didn't win. But it doesn't mean that, you know, this deck isn't still really scary and still something that we consider to beat. Now, why would I even venture to say that? In a world of 6 dice starts, a 2 dice start stands alone. But obviously we know this is not a 2 dice start, right? You start with the Darksaber on Pre, you start with the 2 extra pirates on Hondo, which is not a power action. He just comes in with them. This deck's really scary, right? So, I mean, I think one of the first arguments against it, well, let's list the things that should make it not be good on paper, right? It's mono, has less access, 2 dice start. We already handled that one. Sure, it's limited. You also get Extremist Campaign, by the way, so you get those Yid Act of Cruelty, which does not suck. You get Disable, which can bail you out. You know, the other ones. But still, this thing's incredible, right? You get 27 health, by the way. You also get procs on removing dice for shields. You also get the procs on removing dice to do indirects, because you can run that whole removing dice line with Pre, and you don't mind removing your unique dice, right? There's the new card that allows you to do that, to remove a die. It's essentially the gray measure for a non-unique die. Got everything going for it, right? Got everything going for it. So before we get into the deck I want to use as a reference, right, just a reminder for everybody. So Pre, he's a 2-gun, 2 melee, 2 indirect, shield, a resource, and a blank. Now you look at that, you're like, okay, 3 mixed sides, that's not great. But remember, your pirates are having mixed sides too. So it's not the end of the world. Hondo, he has the OG die of 1 focus, 2 disrupt, discard, special, blank, where the specials deal 2 damage to an opponent's character, or 3 if one of your effects have caused them to lose 1 or more resources this round. The current builds I've seen, that doesn't happen all that often, but remember, if you roll the 2 disrupt on Hondo, it's threatening. A lot of times they'll put themselves in a position where you can't use it because they will spend early, but that's not a horrible thing, because then you still have the die, and if for whatever reason they don't, you crush them, right? So good, great stuff there. So the deck I wanted to use tonight as a example this is Beacon's deck, right? If we're going to use somebody's deck, let's go to one of the good players out there, right? So this is Beacon's deck from the Geos, right? So those are public knowledge, so grabbing those right here. So it's Extremist Campaign Hondo Pre, using High Valley, of course, right? High Valley is the one that gets you additional value off of your non-unique die, which you're rolling in. Remember, even if Hondo does go down, those stay in the pool. He's running 2 Black Market Arms, 2 bow rifles, 2 Petars, and 2 Vibro Axe. Now remember, both these guys can play the Vibro Axe. It redeploys. The Kyoza Petar is an amazing upgrade because it's all modifiers, but yet it's not on these guys. Now, one thing he's not running in here is the Vibro Sword, right? Now, it's interesting because these guys aren't elite. So, right, I mean, that's a thing, right? It is relevant. I have seen that run, though, in a fair amount of decks, right? But remember, it's just the +1, so then you do have to ask yourself, what is the actual value on that? I really like the bow rifle here. I really like that call being a 2-drop. He's running 2 Canto Bite Security, which I think is pretty hot because remember, when that comes down, it can do the removal. 2 Den of Thieves is a no-brainer. Now, one of the things he's not running in this list, of course, is the support that when you remove deals indirect, right? I think that line of play, it just depends on how you want to build your deck. That's certainly a valid line of play with running pre. But, at some point you have too many lines of play going on, and I think that's one of the cool things here. He's running 2 Chemical Strike, 2 Desperate Measures, 2 Doubt, 2 Everybody Profits, 2 Fury, 2 Headstrong, 2 Inflict Pain, 2 Lawless, and Trick. Right, but this is just an example list. As I said, there's a couple pieces that, depending on how you want to play it, could be missing, right? Don't forget, we have Hold Fast, and Hold Fast and Blackstall Station are probably the 2, like, easy picks in here that could really swap in for something else. But again, I wanted to go off a really what I believe to be a really strong player's deck on this, just as a good baseline. And I think that's part of why I like this deck. So there's a couple reasons I like this deck so much, but one of the things that I like is its inherent. I mean, it's a mono deck, right? Like, how it shouldn't have a bunch of flexibility, but it does, right? So you can play it a couple different ways. You have a couple different options even within your own deck that you build. But probably the thing I like the most here is Pre with the Darksaber, and what that does to your game, right? Or your opponent's, what that does to the game, right? And your opponent's decisions. I mean, most of the time they're going to want to go after Pre, right? And get that Darksaber because it's good value, right? The Darksaber is a good card. It's a good die, and they potentially get it. The problem is that lets Hondo sit there and do his things, and he brings in the 3 dice, and he can start putting on Black Market Arms and get more health. And then by the time you do get Pre down with 13 health, you've got, Major Hondo over here, or Supreme Hondo over here with a bunch of really good upgrades. And yeah, I mean, this deck's, it's just good. it's just good. I think one of the things on, let's talk about the Pirate for a bit. And I know we've talked about him before, but I think one of the things with the Pirate where people are like, well, it's a really cruddy die. And I disagree, right? It's not a bad die. I realize that it has the 3 blanks and that with your rollout, you'll have a 50% chance of whiffing, but with 1 reroll, all of a sudden you're not at 50%, right? And with every reroll, especially with sure, you could just brick and roll blanks all day, and it's going to happen to you on those. But remember, you've got tools in there that let you remove those dice, or you have options for tools that let you remove those dice to do things and cause indirect. You have when you do hit, you have your battlefield. You do have other things available to you as well to help you use those dice to get what you want. And then you can modify your upgrade suite, your support suite, however you want in order to try and take advantage of those. So again, looking at the Pirate and say, well, it's 2 dice, but they're not very good dice. That's not true, because you can build not only do they have the 2 sides, which is really strong, right? I mean, effectively, if you look at Pre's die, in terms of resolving them for what you want, they're effectively the same as Pre's die in terms of the value of the die, not in terms of getting them to where you want to be very clear there, right? But the 2 sides are very, very good, right? And they become a 3. And again, like I said, you can remove them if they're not, you can remove them to be offensive or defensive, I suppose, whichever one. Offensively defensive with Blackstall Station, right? So a lot of great options there available on the table. Now, Why do I think this is so well positioned in the meta? And yes, I could be very wrong. And again, to be very clear, the tournament data seems to imply that I am, which is fine. But why do I think this is so well positioned? It's because of the high health, quite frankly, right? Well, I mean, one of the decks tearing things up lately, shout out to Elrath for taking down the St. Louis event. He was running Trandos, right? What do Trandos want to do? Trandos want to blast somebody down ASAP before they lose somebody. This deck with a 5 dice start and characters with high health and 2 of those dice that aren't dependent upon a character going down, it's pretty good, right? That means all you have to do is be able, basically, if you can drop a Trando with this deck, I think you're probably going to win, right? I mean, obviously, before they drop one of your guys. But you've got a pretty good chance of doing that because look at the health on this. Anyway, I mean, and now the Trando deck does a very good job with the remove, like they just keep coming while they remove, but you've got 5 dice coming out. And again, that's too many dice to remove because Hondo has 2 sides. Pre has 3 2 sides. The Pirates have 2 sides. And you have the focus on the Darksaber, which is not irrelevant. You've got damage sides on the Darksaber, which is good, right? So a lot of good things happening here. So anyway, I think it's very well positioned into that. The deck is it's a little disruptive. It's like aggro and disruptive at the same time, right? So the pilot deck out there, by this I'm not talking the Iden pilot deck. I'm talking the non-uniques, right? The double smuggler, the double smuggler pilot deck, which I'm very scared of. 6 dice start, man, crazy. So that deck, I think this does very well on as well because it has the disruptive ability. And it's, that deck Lou moves a little slower to begin, and this one still has those 5 dice. So you can try and blast somebody down while trying to effectively slow them down. You have both at your option while you're also building your board state. I think it's very well positioned against that as well. The deck that, if you do look, I won't give away any spoilers yet, but one of the places this deck is not well positioned at is actually Blue Hero, but we're not seeing a bunch of Blue Hero right now. So one of its weaknesses is largely absent from the meta because that deck is kept in check, I think, by a lot of other things in the meta. So there's a lot of really good things I think that have this deck in check. I mean, one of the threats to this deck, to be fair, is the Bo deck, right? I think that's a fair statement. And that's just because the Bo deck can just put out a bunch of damage and basically try and race you. And like if they can roll a bunch of 3s and drop Pre and get the Darksaber, you're in bad shape. So that's fair, right? And don't get me wrong, a lot of people are playing the Bo deck. It's a very good deck. It's a relatively easy deck to play, which is why I love it. Yeah, but still, I think this is really well positioned. So I'm curious for those of you out there who have played this or have played against it and are playing in a lot of the big events, what are your thoughts? Let me know, let the others know, what are your thoughts? Why is this? Is it just that the players that have selected it haven't shown up to stuff, or they've wanted to play other stuff, which of course speaks some to the deck itself, right? Because people choose good decks, and people choose the decks they want to play for whatever reason that may be. So let me know what you're thinking. Why is this deck not necessarily performing to the level that I think it's capable of? But let me know. Let me know your thoughts below. So anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in for Destiny Friday. Looking forward to seeing all this stuff from this weekend. We'll do a recap next week. Man, I gotta say, I'm scared to see what comes out of this. You guys know how I feel about Iden, and she's gonna be able to bring all the stuff from the 2-player set onto the hero side. That's scary, but we'll have to see how it all fits together. We will touch in next week, and in the meantime, folks, have fun rolling those dice and go Commando.